What's happening, family? It's O.Z Bangaz here for week 3 of Kuumba Lynx Hip Hop Summer Series. This specific class is called Page to Stage. Alright, before we jump into this week's lesson, we're just going to recap all the things that we have learned. So far, we have learned about the origins of theater. We've learned about Dionysus and Thespis and all those good folks back in the Greek times. We have learned about the intro to Black and Latin theater with William Alexander Brown and Sor Juana. We have learned about blocking and stage directions. We have learned about monologues and dialogues. We've also learned about the 15 styles of poetry and the tricks and tools that a poet can use to make their poetry more engaging to the audience, such as assonance, consonants, alliteration, mimesis, and so on. We've learned about the difference between a poet and a spoken word artist, and also the difference between a spoken word artist and the rapper. We've learned about projection and yelling. How projection is from the diaphragm, it's supported with our breath, and it is non-destructive. But yelling hurts, and it is destructive and damaging to our vocal cords. And as a spoken word artist, as an actor, as a storyteller, as a singer, you want to have good vocal health. So if you have missed any of those things, just go back and look at the previous videos. And with that being said, we are going to move on. Welcome. This week, in week 3, we're going to be talking about what is a narrative, okay? By definition, a narrative is a spoken or written account of connected events, a story. We've all told our share of stories, okay? You go into work or school on Monday, your friend says, "Hey, how was your weekend?" You say, "Oh, well, me and my mom and my parents, we did A, B, C, and D." Or I went to hang out with my wife or my girlfriend. Or you know what, I just stayed in the house and I sat on the couch and I watched Netflix. I got to catch up on my favorite show. Did you know that in episode 4 that such and such and such happened? We tell stories all the time. All a story is a sequence of events. First, this happened, then this happened, and then everything concluded when this happened. Beginning, middle, end. Someone once wrote, "It is through stories that we share and reveal our passions, fears, history, culture, politics, sadness, hardships, joys, and more." Stories help us find common ground and connect with others. Stories are universal. They help us find meaning and purpose with others and our community. They help us understand ourselves better. So there's a lot of power in stories. Stories are used to persuade and explain things, perhaps things that we might not be able to understand. Stories can help us get out of sticky situations. One time when I was very young, maybe I think I was about 7 or 8, because my mom was pregnant, I asked my uncle how were babies made. As you might imagine, I put my uncle in a very awkward situation. He wasn't really ready to have that conversation with me and tell me how babies were really made. So he made up a story. He told me about this beautiful woman who one day picked a watermelon from a garden and ate it, and accidentally swallowed a watermelon seed. And it took 9 months for this watermelon seed to turn into a baby, which she gave birth to later on, okay? Now, it was a beautiful story, it was entertaining, it made me laugh, and it made me think, and for the time I was like, okay, watermelon seeds, you know? As you might imagine, as a male, I was very careful about eating watermelons after that, okay? But that's the power of a story. It allows us to get out of situations like that. It helps us find meaning and purpose. Sure enough, later on somebody had to come and tell me another story about how babies were made. But that's a different story for another time. Let's be honest. History has shown the power of stories. Stories can be used for good or stories can be used for evil. Conspiracy theories and stereotypes. Emmett Till died because of a bogus story. Okay? Black Wall Street was destroyed because of a bogus story. Women burned at the stake in Salem because of a bogus story. Let's look at what is a script, okay? A script is the written text of a play, musical, movie, or broadcast. Why do we need to create a script? Well, a script allows everyone involved in a production of a script to be on the same page. We know what characters are talking, when they're talking, what they're saying. It gives us a layout for the sequence of events. First this happened, then this happened, then this happened. Okay, so how do you turn a narrative into a script? Okay, the first thing I will urge you to do is to write your narrative down. Write the sequence of events, the beginning, the middle, and the end. Write it with as much description as you can. Be very detailed, okay? Because different parts of your story are gonna help to create different parts of the script. Once your narrative is written, what you're gonna do is you're gonna go and identify who are the characters that are talking. You're gonna write their names. That's gonna be your character list, okay? And then you're gonna go through the story, and just when you see that a certain person is talking, you write their name and you write the dialogue. This is what they said. So say you have a character named Fred, and Fred walks in and says, "Hey, why are you wearing my new shirt?" Okay, so the way that I do it is normally I would write the name Fred, I would center it, and then under it, I would write, "Hey, why are you wearing my new shirt?" Now say Fred has a brother named Ted, and Ted responds, "Oh, I bought this shirt last week. I thought it was mine." So now you have Fred saying, "Hey, why are you wearing my new shirt?" Then the next line you have Ted centered, and his dialogue says, "Oh, I bought the same shirt last week. I thought this shirt was mine." Okay? Boom. You just created dialogue. We know which character is talking, and we know what they're saying. They're communicating back and forth. Other things that you might want to add in your script is entrances and exits. When does a character enter? When does a character exit? Especially if you're writing a play or a movie. Also, another addition to your script is you want to put page numbers. So if you're reading with a bunch of people and someone gets lost, you could say, "Hey, we're at the top of page 5, which means we're at the top of the page, or the bottom of page 8, or we're in the middle of page 10. So that helps. Sometimes I get scripts and they don't have page numbers, and I have to go and write the page numbers by hand. So that's something you also want to add. I always tell people, add a header and a footer to your script. Put your name, put the name of your script, and put the date that it was copyrighted. You never know who might want to steal your stuff. So a lot of the scripts that I work on are for musical plays. So I write dialogue in a very specific way. Dialogue is written in, let's just say the font is Times New Roman. You can pick whatever font you want, but I'm just keeping it simple for this tutorial. So if it's regular dialogue, then the font is just regular. No bold, no italics or anything like that, just regular. If dialogue is meant to be rapped, then I bold it. If someone is yelling, then I write that dialogue in all caps. However, if someone is singing, I write the lyrics in all caps, but I bold it. And with that being said, we have wrapped up our tutorial for week 3. Now for your assignments. Since we are in week 3 and we only have to week 5 to basically prepare for our performance, this is what we're gonna do, all right? By now, you should have written a monologue, you should have recorded a monologue, you should have written a poem in one of the 15 styles that we talked about last week, and now, this week, you are going to write a narrative and you are going to turn it into a scripted scene. What is your narrative and your script going to be about, you ask? Since we are in a time of Corona, it is July of 2020. This is what I'm going to have you write about. I want you to write a scene where you take a stance on a specific topic. And then you're going to have a character or some characters that are going to argue against you. So for instance, one topic is to wear a mask to protect yourself against coronavirus or not to wear a mask. Another topic is defund the police or not defund the police. Okay? So I will list some other topics to help you out on the assignment board, but those are two that you can start thinking about. And with that being said, I look forward to seeing you in the virtual class. Peace.